In the context of cultural geography, settlement refers to a place where people live and interact through activities that are related to social, materialistic, organizational, spiritual, and cultural elements. Human settlement is a term applied to cities, towns, villages, and other concentrations of human populations which inhabit a given segment or environment. Broadly, settlement geography is dealt under urban and rural contexts. Urban settlements include towns and cities, and rural settlements cover communes and villages. While discussing the morphology of settlements, it may be noted that there is often a distinct correlation existing between functions and population size and density. A rural settlement tends to have a smaller population and lower density, while the urban settlement often has a larger population size and higher density. Settlement morphology is primarily concerned with the layout, plan, and internal structure of a given settlement. It not only views a settlement area in terms of physical space, but also identifies its various components in respect of socio-economic pattern, which has a direct bearing in controlling the arrangement of buildings, pattern of streets, fields, and other functional characteristics. Villages represent the smallest revenue cum administrative unit, and rural morphology in an ancient country like India assumes greater significance, as it aids in understanding the socio-cultural structure, economic conditions, and responses to innovations. Rural landscape has several characteristics aiding understanding the natural and cultural forces responsible for the formation. Landscape characteristics are the tangible evidence of the activities and habits of the people who occupied, developed, used, and shaped the land to serve human needs. The characteristics may also reflect beliefs, attitudes, traditions, and values of people who have been instrumental in shaping the landscape. Land use and activities. In a rural setup, the functional characteristics such as farming, mining, recreation, social events, commerce, or industry have left an indelible imprint on settlement pattern. An examination of changing as well as continuing land use may lead to a general understanding of how people have interacted with the environment. The topography, resource availability, transportation, cultural and traditions, and economic factors in a given setup have exerted influence on the way people use the land. Changing land use pattern might have resulted from improved technology, impoverishment of soil, depletion of water and mineral resources, climatic changes, or new economic conditions, besides antecedents of success and failures. The current activities, however, might reflect traditional practices or innovations. Patterns of spatial organization. The organization of land largely depends on the relationship among major physical components, predominant landforms, and natural features. The spatial organization is also greatly controlled by political and economic factors, besides the natural environment and prevailing technology. The pattern is reflected in transport systems, field patterns, spacing of farmlands, proximity to market, water resources, orientation of structures to sun, wind, etc. Response to natural environment. Physiographic features such as a hill, mountain, peneplain, river, lake, forest cover, etc. have exerted a great influence on the location and organization of rural communities. Climatic factor has a strong bearing on the location of structures, availability of resources, and their use. Accordingly, traditional uses of land, agricultural practices, construction methods, and social customs related to a settlement have evolved in response to local physiography and ecology. Cultural traditions that include religious beliefs, social customs, and ethnic identity have exerted influence on settlement morphology, skills, commercial activity, and land use pattern. The morphological features are dealt in terms of diversity in construction, location of roads, market, and village centers. Ethnic customs are generally transmitted to successive generations by early settlers. In rural India, the social conditions play a dominant role in affecting the internal morphological structure. Economic prosperity, social status, and functional attributes are generally linked to the centuries old caste hierarchy, which gives a distinct size, shape, and layout to the rural dwellings. The dwellings of higher strata of people often possess ostentatious houses with a large courtyard. The lower strata dwellings, on the other hand, are marked by only a hut or a small house shared by all members of the family and at times even by cattle. The nucleus of the village is usually occupied by higher castes, while subordinates have peripheral locations, with the huts or houses built at the periphery far away from the core of the village. The concepts of social space and functional integration have much relevance in understanding the socio-spatial structure of the Indian villages and are explained through religion, ritual, and secular dominance models. Religion ritual model, the Hindu social organization setup based on caste system has distinctly distanced people of upper and lower castes in the society and also has led to the development of twin settlements of priestly caste Hindus and the landlords on one hand and the labor and service class of people who mark the foundation of the village economy on the other. The segregation was much pronounced during the past. In case of compact settlements, the outcasts generally lived on the outer part of the built-up area in a direction less conducive for wind movement. How and why such traditions came into being is a matter of debate, but it is believed that the so-called untouchables may be remnants of the pre-Aryan tribes who were exploited by the Aryans and later Rajput settlers. Contrary to the religion ritual model, the secular dominance model brings different caste groups closer to each other so as to function as a complementary unit. This is accomplished by the landholders inviting various people of service castes to settle within the village for carrying out functions of agriculture and related services. The functional interdependence is seen even in case of certain Muslim villages as remnants of old decayed tradition prevailing amongst the converts. The said models are not capable of explaining the present socio-spatial structure of the villages independently. It is only the combined nature that gives a distinct pattern to the village morphology. Presently, under the new socio-economic order, the old system is gradually losing its importance. The judge money system and caste-based social stratification are on decline due mainly to many progressive policies of government in creating awareness and educating the rural masses and general improvement in the socio-economic conditions of lower strata of people. Urban settlements. An urban settlement is a densely populated area comprising mostly man-made structures conducive for society's administrative, cultural, residential, and religious functions. The infrastructural requirement for urban settlement is much more than the rural counterpart. Urban morphology is characterized by high-rise buildings, industrial zones, green areas, advanced infrastructure, multifarious services, etc. Many urban settlements contain racially, ethnically, and culturally diverse populations. The term urbanization refers to the process by which towns and cities are formed and marks a great increase in population density besides expansion of urban functions. The morphological analysis of settlements is usually undertaken utilizing cartography and GIS techniques. The process of Development of an urban center is normally deduced from comparison with historic maps. The essence of the idea of settlement morphology was initially expressed in the writings of the great poet and philosopher Goethe in 1790. Subsequently, various theories have been advanced by urban geographers to analyze the morphology of urban centers. Of these, mention may be made of the concentric zone theory by Burgess, sector theory by Homer Hoyt, and multiple nuclei theory by Harris and Ullman. These models have aided in identifying various functional zones, namely commercial areas including Central Business District or CBD, residential, industrial, institutional, recreational and transport lands. The administrative, educational, cultural and public services and military establishments come under the institutional category. Recreational land includes parks, outdoor and indoor playgrounds, swimming pool, etc. Roads, car parks, terminals, airports, etc. are included under transport lands. Indian urban morphology. The earliest known urban areas on the Indian subcontinent date back to Indus Valley civilization around 2600 BC. But actual thrust came with the arrival of British. Nearly the 200 years of colonial rule reduced India to an agrarian economy. Although urbanization is on the rise, still India is considered as one of the least urbanized countries. Indian urban morphology may be examined under ancient, medieval, modern and recent categories. In ancient time, as in the case of Indus Valley civilization period, a typical urban morphology was characterized by a grid pattern comprising main streets dividing the town into various blocks. Even in the Vedic period, the town plan and the morphology represented the rectangular layout with the sides oriented in the form of quarters and intersected by avenues and terminating in 4 gateways and the central part occupied by a temple, palace, tank or a garden. Cities like Ayodhya, Kanchipuram, Lumbini, Madurai, Mathura, Rajgir, Varanasi and Ujjain represent such an ancient urban morphology. The medieval towns also adopted a grid pattern similar to ancient towns, but added forts, city walls, bazaars, mosques, chowks, lakes or water bodies. Ahmedabad, Aligarh, Agra, Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Bulandshahr, Chittorgarh and many others represent Indian medieval towns. The rapid industrialization and urbanization during the second half of 20th century substantially changed the morphology of Indian cities. India's largest cities exceeding 1 lakh inhabitants are concentrated in the 3 regions, namely the northern plains extending from Punjab in the west to the Ganges Delta in the east, the Mumbai-Ahmedabad sector and the southern part of the subcontinent. During the British period, with the development of new mohallas, marketplaces and suburbs, the morphology became sectored. In certain port and capital cities, the morphology resorted to multiple nuclear type of development. The general functional structure of and urban land use of the Indian cities show that there is a clear absence of segregation between residential and work areas. Most of the traders, businessmen, artisans, servicemen and factory workers prefer to reside near the place of work. Central Business District or CBD. One of the important features of the cities developed by the British was the Central Business District. The CBD often forms the geographic heart of a city. In the United States, CBD is commonly referred to as downtown or a city center. The term city center is commonly used in Australia, and Canada and Ireland. CBD is characterized by a higher concentration of taller buildings relative to any other part of the city. Since it includes normally most of cities' offices and larger city stores, it is the area where the land value and tax revenue to government are high. Many countries prefer to have a vertical development at the CBD in place of horizontal growth. CBD draws its business from the whole urban area, including all ethnic groups and classes of people. The downtown is invariably a main marketplace and pedestrian traffic is dense. India uses the term central block district, as in the case of Mumbai, marked by fairly a vibrant business environment. Nariman Point, Bazar Estate, Bandra Kurla Complex, and Andheri, in addition to CBD Belapur at the hinterland of Mumbai, form the business districts. Indian city types. The present urban scenario is a conglomeration of elements originating from traditional, colonial, post-colonial and contemporary cities. The traditional cities are the ones built according to traditions existing at the time of formation. The traditional cities are characterized by compact and densely built up low-rise settlements with narrow meandering streets, widening occasionally into market streets or squares. The houses are predominantly inward oriented, enclosing a central courtyard. A prominent feature of traditional towns and cities was their intuitive growth pattern or the growth pursued by intuition. Another striking characteristic is the common spatial identity of residential units and workplaces. India's traditional urban settlements are marked by two types of morphologies, namely Hindu style and Islamic style. The Hindu style of town development was based on Vedic principles as well as cosmologic concepts. Such a style was typically interspersed with distinct quarters enclosed by concentric walls. The agglomeration of such towns gave rise to temple districts, wherein there were a wide variety of gateways defining a hierarchy of spaces. Such town-in-town temple districts are mostly characterized by strict caste subdivisions. Within the outer walls exist dwelling units and shops. The Islamic style, in contrast to the Hindu towns, had towns and cities primarily defined by palaces, forts, mosques and gardens. The leftover space was occupied by an intricate street network. The Islamic city in general is characterized by neighborhoods reflecting social stratification. Old Delhi, Hyderabad and Bijapur are some of the cities displaying Islamic style. Initially, the colonial cities had three clear segregations, namely the native quarter that was more or less identical to the indigenous settlement, the cantonment which was home to military personnel and their dependents, the civil lines, the essential area of civilian administrative staff. Later, the triad translated into a segregation of administrative, commercial and industrial activities. Administrative centers predominantly evolved in civil lines together with modern commercial and industrial functions. Traditional commercial and manufacturing activities were anchored in the native quarter. Commerce and industry gradually emerged in cantonments. Many contemporary cities represent a blend of traditional and colonial patterns. During the post-independence period, the process of urbanization gained momentum and the cities commenced growing at a remarkable pace. Suburbs. The suburbs are seen generally unplanned, lacking systematic and coherent land use pattern. This is attributed mainly to poor compliance of government policies and directives aiming at easing crowded centers by limiting floor area ratios, site occupancy and density of development. Also, the land use regulations are not strictly enforced by local authorities in suburban jurisdictions, but at places the rapidly growing suburban offices, technology parks, R&D clusters and manufacturing units have led to an exclusive spatial pattern resembling an US edge city. The edge city is an American term for a concentration of business, shopping and entertainment outside a traditional downtown or central business district in what had previously been a residential or rural area. The city skyline of such major urban centers is more and more transformed by symbols of economic power with high-rise buildings and skyscrapers. Slums and associated problems. Slum proliferation in urban areas is a rising concern. Mostly, They are squatter settlements characterized by extremely high population density, insecure tenure, poor infrastructure, unhealthy and inadequate living conditions. The slum population exhibits high concentration of alcoholics, drug abusers, criminals and vandals. Many slums are considered cities and economies in their own right. Dharavi in Mumbai, for instance, is reported to be the Asia's biggest slum in terms of population and is home to more than an estimated 1 million people. The main characteristics of Indian slums are: they generally develop over government or illegally occupied land, either at the edge of a built-up area or interstices of existing development alongside a railway line, pond, drain, etc. The houses are seen built with mud or bricks with either thatched roofs or roofs covered with corrugated, polythene or tin sheets, bamboo mats, gunny bags, etc. And poor sanitation and inadequate running water and electricity, hand pump often present to meet cleaning and washing requirements. Improper sewage lines and garbage accumulation resulting in obnoxious odor. The dwellers belong to a tertiary sector of economy and form lower income groups. Creation of slum in urban areas is generally attributed to migration of unemployed rural people and those who seek glamour of city, better prospects and improved quality of life. Rural unemployment is the result of population rise resulting in increased pressure on agricultural land and small size holdings. Functional classification of Indian cities. Towns are also classified based on the functionality. The functions are basically non-agricultural and include administration, manufacturing, trade, commerce, defense, goods and services, communications, recreation, etc. In reality, cities have more than one function to perform. Some of the towns housing headquarters of administrative units of government bodies performing legislative, executive and judiciary functions are categorized under administrative towns. Some of the towns either representing strategic locations or stationing military training centers, air force and naval bases, cantonment form defense towns. Visakhapatnam, Cochin, Ambala, Jodhpur, etc. are some of the examples. The cultural cities are characterized by religious, educational and even recreational functions. Ayodhya, Amritsar, Tirupati, Nasik, Pushkar, Haridwar, Hyderabad, Varanasi, Ajmer, etc. are some of the examples. Commercial towns include trade centers and industrial agglomerations. Places like Agra, Mumbai, Pune, Kanpur, Ludhiana, Coimbatore, etc. are some of the examples of towns with economic activity. Resort towns are mainly recreational towns. The hill stations, beach towns, etc. come under the category. A metropolitan area, referred to as metro, is a region consisting of a densely populated urban core and less populated surrounding areas with improved infrastructure, housing, varying commuting patterns and industrial establishments. A metropolitan area usually comprises multiple jurisdictions and municipalities and has become key economic and political regions. Metropolitan area generally includes one or more urban areas and suburbs, satellite cities, towns and intervening rural areas that are socio-economically tied to the urban core. Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai form the metropolis of India. National Urbanization Policy. The Government of India has framed an urbanization policy aimed at developing urban-rural continuum in place of the existing urban-rural dichotomy. The policy gives priority for urban housing, public transport and sanitation, besides promoting sustainability of habitats through improvements in energy efficient systems, urban planning and management of solid and liquid waste, including recycling and power generation. In conclusion, the morphological study of settlements, both urban and rural, relates to the process of formation and transformation. Much of India's rural population lives in nucleated villages, which most commonly have a settlement form described as shapeless agglomerate. Such settlements, though unplanned, are divided by caste into distinct wards and grow outward from a recognizable core area. The dominant and higher castes tend to live in the core area, while the lower service castes and artisans and generally occupy the periphery.